Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're diving into something that's a real game changer for finance careers, the Certified Management Accountant, or CMA USA. We're going to break down exactly what it is, who should be looking into it, and really how it can be your personal blueprint for becoming a leader in finance. So let me ask you something right off the bat. Are you feeling kind of stuck in those traditional accounting roles? Do you want to be the person who doesn't just report the numbers, but actually uses them to steer the ship and make those big, important decisions? If you're nodding along, then yeah, you're definitely in the right place. All right, let's get right into it. First things first, what is the CMA USA certification? And more importantly, why does everyone all over the world seem to respect it so much? Okay, so at its heart, the CMA is a professional certification from the Institute of Management Accountants. You'll hear people call it the IMA, which is based in the US. But here's the key difference, right? A lot of other certifications focus on things like audit or tax. The CMA, it's all about one thing: mastering the skills you need to help a business make smarter decisions. It's about looking forward, not just backward. So, what does this actually mean for you and your career? Well, for starters, it's globally recognized. That means your skills are valuable no matter where you go, in pretty much any industry. But the really big deal is that it builds a bridge. It takes you from just reporting the numbers to actually using those numbers to shape strategy. It's laser focused on corporate finance, the kind of strategic thinking that company leaders are always looking for. So, how does the CMA actually build up your skills? Well, I want you to think of it less like just a piece of paper and more like a training ground for unlocking your strategic superpowers. Seriously, it's what turns you from the accountant into a strategic business partner. Yeah, this is way beyond just balancing the books. We're talking about the heavy-hitting stuff. Skills like strategic financial planning, being the go-to person for leadership when they need decision support, digging into cost management to make the company more profitable, and optimizing performance everywhere. Oh, and of course, getting ahead of risk before it becomes a problem. These aren't just accounting skills, these are leadership skills. And this quote right here, it just nails it. If you take away just one thing today, let it be this: the CMA helps you bridge that huge gap between the raw numbers on a spreadsheet and the massive decisions that determine a company's success or failure. You become the person who translates the data into strategy. Okay, so you're probably thinking, these superpowers sound great, how do I get them? Well, the good news is the path is actually really clear. It's a two-part blueprint. Let's take a look at the exam. So the whole thing is split into two parts. You can think of part one as where you become the performance pro. This is all about the internal stuff, planning, budgeting, cost management, basically making the company run like a well-oiled machine. Then you have part two. This is where you become the strategy pro. This part is all about looking outward and forward: financial analysis, corporate finance, risk management, and those huge investment decisions. All right, the two-part structure makes sense, but can you actually do it? Who's eligible? Let's quickly go over the requirements so you can see if you're ready to jump in. Honestly, the path is pretty straightforward. There are just three main things. First, you need a bachelor's degree or a similar professional qualification. Second, you need 2 years of real-world experience in management accounting or finance. And third, you just have to be an active member of the IMA. That's really it. Okay, let's get to the good part, the payoff. After you've done the work and you've earned that certification, what happens next? Where does this all lead? Let's talk about your future career. Having a CMA on your resume, it just unlocks a whole different level of opportunity. We're talking about those high-growth roles everyone wants. Things like financial analyst, finance manager, controller, even a strategic planning analyst. See, these aren't just line items on a resume. They are roles that put you right in the middle of all the action. And where can this all lead? What's the ultimate destination? For a lot of people, the goal is the C-suite. And the CMA, well, it's a fantastic pathway to get there. Why? Because the skills you learn, strategy, deep analysis, risk management, those are the exact skills that define a great chief financial officer. Okay, so we know where we're going, but how long does it take to get there? Let's pull out the map and look at the actual timeline for getting certified. And this is one of the best parts about the CMA, honestly, the timeline. It's totally realistic to get this whole thing done in just 6 to 12 months. A lot of people will spend about 6 months studying for one part and then another 6 months on the other. Plus, they have exam windows 3 times a year, so you have a lot of flexibility to take the tests when it works for you. So, let's just recap everything real quick. We've got the CMA USA from the IMA. You need a degree and 2 years of experience. It's a 2-part exam that you can knock out in about 6 to 12 months. And what do you get at the end? You get a powerful set of skills in strategy and analytics that are in super high demand, opening up doors to top-tier finance jobs all over the world. So there you have it. We've gone through the what, the why, and the how of the CMA. It's a pretty clear blueprint for anyone who wants to go from being a number cruncher to a real strategic leader. So I guess the only question left to ask is, what's your next chapter going to be?
So how do you make sure you don't just start the journey, but you actually succeed and pass a super tough professional exam?
Well, that's where preparation and, maybe more importantly, guidance become absolutely critical. To see how that works, we're going to take a look at one specific institute, ELITES EDU, and break down the kind of mentorship model they use for this exact journey.
This chart really spells out a huge difference in philosophy. See, on the left, you've got the traditional teaching model. It's all about delivering information from a curriculum. But on the right, you have a mentorship model. That's totally different. It's built around personalized guidance with the goal of shaping you into a leader, not just cramming for a test.
And this quote from them just nails it. We don't just teach, we mentor. That really highlights their core promise. The whole idea is to create a partnership that's focused on building your career. It's a big shift from just learning stuff to being actively guided on how to use it and succeed for the long haul.
All right, so let's get practical. How does this whole mentorship idea actually translate into real tools for success? How does an institute like ELITES EDU actually set up its program to make sure students pass?
Well, this slide shows their complete support system. A really key part of this is learning from trainers who are already US CMAs themselves. I mean, they've been through this exact process, right? Another huge thing is the massive emphasis on mock exams and practice questions. That's so crucial for getting ready for the pressure and the format of the real test. The whole thing is designed to be a full-circle system of support.
Okay, so with a system like that in place, what's the actual result for a student? Let's look at the transformation they're talking about, going from a learner to a qualified professional.
The journey is laid out here in 3 clear stages. First, you build confidence. You get to really master the material with expert coaching. That foundation then leads to clarity, which is where you start to see how all these concepts actually apply in real-world business situations. And the final result? Competence. You have the proven skill to not only ace the exam, but to thrive in a super demanding global career.
And at the end of the day, the results of this mentorship model really boil down to 2 key things: consistently excellent pass rates for the CMA exam and real, tangible success in placing graduates into the kinds of global careers they were aiming for. So, we've walked through the certification, the career path, and an example of a guided approach to get there. The last piece of the puzzle is, well, taking that very first step.
And this is really the decision point, isn't it? It's about choosing to invest in a globally recognized standard of expertise, something that can totally change your career path for years to come.
The message here is really simple. That path to a global career, to getting your US CMA certification, it's totally within reach. And for a lot of people, it can all start with just one decision to begin.
And this tagline kind of wraps up the whole idea we've been talking about today: bridging education to global careers. It's a great reminder that the right certification isn't just some academic thing you hang on the wall. It is a powerful, strategic career move.